Okay, welcome everyone. So, this LinkedIn streaming, as always, it's just killing me. It's so awful. It's so bad. So, if you're, let's see, first of all, let's see, am I even live? No? Yes? I have no idea about that. Let's see. If I'm live, then can someone write something in the comments? So, in the chat, so I can actually see that. Okay. Looks like I am indeed live. Oh, someone says yes. Nice. Hi from California. Nice. So, if I'm indeed live, then please write in the comments, in the chat, from which country, from which city are you? From Utah. Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. What's the question again? From which country and from which city are you? Wait, can you hear me clearly? Because who knows? Camera, audio. Yeah, I'm speaking through my microphone. I see. Someone already starts with the first question: how to transition from Java developer to Salesforce developer. Okay, we're gonna cover that. Don't worry. I'm gonna answer all your questions. Literally all questions. From India, we have, yes, let's go. India, we have US, we have India, we have Austin, which is US. And let's see what other countries. Let's see if we can catch Europe at this point. Cheers from Brazil. Nice, Brazil. Awesome. Brazil is the home of the Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. Awesome combat sport. So, India, India, India. Awesome. Okay. So as you see, I started a little bit early. I started like 4 minutes before, so I can actually see that that everything is working because I had so much issues with the LinkedIn lives. I think the last time I tried to go live was like 6 months ago or something around this, and it was just horrible. The live stream just did not work. There is some huge delay for the LinkedIn streams, but it's all good. Yeah, that's that's true. By the way, if you wanna, you can watch it on YouTube as well. I think YouTube is a little bit better in streaming. Let me send you here. Oh, we have people from Ghana. This is nice. This is from Africa. Awesome. So we have here Dallas. Okay, good. So we have Dallas, US. Let's see. Do we have for California? It's probably still quite early in the morning, so I don't think we're gonna have too many people from California. Okay. So still 3 minutes. Still 3 minutes, and then in 3 minutes we're gonna start. Okay. We're gonna start in 3 minutes. Yeah, the delay is actually quite huge. The delay is actually quite huge. Yeah, you can watch on YouTube. California, no, Cali, Colombia. I thought Cali is is short for California. No, Cali, Colombia. Okay, nice. Carlos, welcome. Sami, welcome. Binay, Vivek, Divya, welcome. Welcome everyone. Kiev, Ukraine. Nikita, welcome from my home country, from the city where I was born. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is my one of the most favorite cities ever because I lived there for like 17, 16 years of my life. It was a big part of my life, and still it is a big part of my life. So welcome. I hope you have good there without any bombing or something, whatever. Okay. Yeah, I would appreciate if actually you guys watch it on YouTube. Because I don't know how about this LinkedIn stream. It might just kind of stop working at some point. It happens with LinkedIn streams. So if you watch it on YouTube, it's going to be, I think, a better experience. But that all doesn't really matter that much because today we're going to be speaking about how to become a senior Salesforce developer. And for me to understand where are you guys at this point, can you write in the chat who is here a senior developer, beginner developer, or like just write what kind of stage in coding are you? If you're a beginner, write beginner. If you're working as a developer, write developer. If you're a senior developer already, write senior. I want to see all the seniors here if you're here on this stream. Artus from Paris. Nice. Welcome. Welcome, Paris. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. So write in the chat what kind of level are you, and then I can make this presentation a little bit more towards what's important for you guys. So I'm not talking just random stuff here. And of course, also prepare all your questions because you can just shoot your questions at any point, and then I'm either gonna answer them immediately or we're just gonna wait a little bit, and I'm gonna answer all of them at the end. Steven says, I'm a beginner, hoping to learn lots. Okay. So Steven is the beginner. Are there any other beginners? Who is a beginner in coding? Write in the chat. I know it's hard to admit that you're a beginner in something, but write in the chat. Junior developer. Okay, so Divya, you're already working as a developer, right? Just starting Salesforce development. Newbie Salesforce developer failed PD1 twice. I need to know the magic to being developer. Okay. Vivek says developer. Harish says developer. Fadi says from Egypt. Okay. Junior. Dan, welcome. I know you. Welcome, Dan. Okay. So, I have here my camera. I have here my notepad where I'm going to be writing everything. And here I have my notes, what I'm going to teach you. So if I'm looking all over the place, that's why. And let's get started slowly. Let's see how in this thing I can share the screen. Developer. Okay. Developer, 5 years experience from India. Nice. Rita says, thank you for the session. Well, you don't know, maybe it's going to be bad, so don't thank me in advance. Dan's also happy to have you here. Okay, so you can see the dashboard, right? So if you can see the dashboard, then write what I wrote here. What I wrote here on the dashboard, please write it in the chat so I know that you can actually see the dashboard, because that would be important for me. Okay. So write this plus in the comments in the chat, and then I can see that you can see the dashboard here, what I'm drawing. Mid-level, Conrad says plus, this is good. Okay, so we have, at least you can see what I'm drawing here. This is very good. Okay, Divya says that you're working as a contract that almost ends. Okay. Sami says that you can see X. Some people see X, some people see plus. I see plus, personally. But I can argue that this could be also an X. I totally agree. Samir says plus, Rita says plus, Harish plus. Awesome. That's good. Sami plus, Danish plus. Okay. So what we're going to be speaking today is about this transformation, right? About this transformation from junior Salesforce developer to the senior Salesforce developer. Now, this transformation for me personally, it was the most life-changing transformation for a couple of reasons. First of all, of course, money, right? When you're a senior developer, you don't need to worry about searching for a job basically ever again. You will be able to find some kind of job at some point. Okay, maybe if the economy is completely bad, then you won't be able to find the 100k, the 200, the 300k salary, right? But you will be able to find some kind of job. Okay, so this transformation, what we're going to be speak today, this transformation, I think this is one of the most important transformations in your Salesforce career, especially when we speak about Salesforce development, right? There's no way that you as a senior Salesforce developer will be worried about the job so much and what you're going to earn and all of that. Mudit says we want integration cohort ASAP. Yes, about integrations, we're going to speak about integrations today. Can't wait. So yeah, we will speak about integrations. So this transformation is basically what gonna put the end to your struggles. At least it was for me. When I became senior, I stopped worrying about, okay, will I be able to find a job? How this job is gonna look like? Instead, the situation inverts, and now you are in demand. And the companies, they have to be asking you if you want to join their company or not. Okay. So you have more money, you have more jobs, and the job that you work is way easier. So for me personally, I see this senior, so becoming a senior, as kind of the end goal of your Salesforce career, especially if you want to go the developer route. Okay. Now, this transformation cannot happen just by learning. Okay. So you cannot just go on YouTube and learn something about Salesforce, about Apex, and become a senior. This transformation always is about doing and experience, right? And experience. So I'm going to be talking here a lot about what exactly you can do, what you should be focusing on, right? All these different things, all the parts that I think make a Salesforce developer. And there are multiple different parts that you can improve and be kind of a little bit closer to this goal of becoming senior developer. But you need to always keep in mind that most of these things that we're talking about, you can improve by just working as a Salesforce developer. Okay. And even if you don't want to become a senior Salesforce developer, if you just want to be really good at Salesforce, then this presentation, this whole session is still for you. Even if you don't want to be a full-time developer, because if you want to be really good at Salesforce, if you want to be an architect, for example, if you want to be a technical architect, right, then you need to learn coding at some level, and preferably on quite a good level, right? So this is what we're going to be speaking about. And I'm going to be checking the comments from time to time. So put the messages there, and I'm going to be answering them. Now, to understand how to become a senior Salesforce developer, let's first speak what is actually the definition of a senior Salesforce developer. Who is a senior developer, right? So this is you, right? Now, what you do is that you're sitting in the office, you're sitting in your home office maybe, and you receive on your job, you receive some kind of input and you produce some output, right? So my personal definition of a senior developer is that no matter what kind of input on Salesforce as a project comes to this developer, this developer can solve this project. So if any type of client with any type of stuff comes to you and says, hey, I want to solve this in Salesforce, right? In Salesforce, we are speaking about Salesforce. If you can do anything that comes your way, or if you can assemble a team of developers, they can solve this project, then you're a senior. Even if we speak about stuff that cannot be solved with Salesforce, because sometimes you have people and they're coming to you and they say, hey, I want to develop next Amazon on Salesforce. Can you do it for me? Can you do an Amazon for me? Yeah, here we go, Amazon. What's your answer as a developer? The answer is no. I cannot do that, right? Not only I cannot do it, no one can do that, right? Because Amazon was developed over 20, 30 years by the best people, by the best coders, right? You cannot just go and develop it. So the point is that if a project is unsolvable, this is also a solution to the project because the problem goes away or the problem needs to be restructured. So the point is that if any type of project comes into your world, right, then you should be able to solve this project as a senior developer. There's a little bit more, so we're gonna kind of distill down what goes into all of these things, but this is in the nutshell, right? This is the definition basically. You can see that this is kind of like a lot, right? So it means that your output here, it shouldn't be only Apex or only Visual Force or only LWC. Your output should be anything that actually solves the problem of the business that comes to you. So it can be a flow. It can be no code, no solution, right? It can be also what we discussed so far. We are just not doing the project. That's also a solution. So you can see that the task of a senior developer is more than just coding. It is understanding all the parts of Salesforce. It is understanding how to solve real business problems using Salesforce and everything around, not only the Salesforce. Okay? So when I started with Salesforce, so Salesforce, it was 2019, right? Not that bad of a year to start with the Salesforce, but quite a bad year for the world in general. But this is where I start with Salesforce. What I thought is Salesforce, the way you kind of code with the Salesforce is that you log in into Salesforce, you code some Apex, you do some flows, and or back then process builder. You do process builder, you do flows, you do Apex, and that's it. But then what turns out that one day we had a customer. We had a customer, and this customer, he had printers. He had actual printers. Like this was a Bavarian customer. Like he was dressed like a Oktoberfest with the beer and lederhosen, and he was like with a thick German accent. And he came to us and he said, "You know what? I'm using Salesforce, but Salesforce is not the main part of my business. My business is not really that digital. My business is like a lot of hands-on stuff. It's a lot of printing. It's a lot of like going to the people. A lot of those type of things." And what the guy wanted, I think he was called Thomas or something like this. Thomas. I think it's pretty fair to assume that it was Thomas. So what Thomas wanted is that we are integrating Salesforce into his printing workflow, because there was a part of the team that was basically doing sales and then selling how to print those t-shirts. Yeah, like for example, they would print whatever, like 1,000 t-shirt based on one like print. I mean, like printing like logo, like this logo, for example, on a t-shirt, right? So they would print it like a t-shirt. And they came to us and they said, hey, we want to have those printers integrated into our Salesforce. And I was like, oh, wait a second. So now I need to understand how the printers work. Now I need to understand how to make this connection. Now I need to understand what the hell is going on there. I cannot just go into Salesforce and do something in Salesforce. And I remember back then I told to my senior supervisor, I told him, hey, you know what? Like I know what to do in Salesforce, but I don't know what to do outside of Salesforce. And he said, yeah, that's the hardest part. That's the hardest part. The hardest part is to go to the client, understand what needs to be done, gather the requirements, understand what are the other things, right? What is the thing outside of Salesforce? So it turned out that Salesforce is not like this, but Salesforce is connected to many other businesses, to many other parts of the system. Salesforce is essentially this never like just this one island that just floats somewhere. Salesforce is always part of the business. So so what you need to do as a senior developer is that you need to understand everything. You cannot just understand Salesforce itself. It's not enough. You need to understand way more stuff beyond Salesforce and beyond just like hardcore skills that you kind of imagine that senior developers can do. I'm gonna show you what are those exactly skills, so don't worry. But so far, let's check if stream is even still online. Okay, so the more I code, the more I feel better to do farming or printing. Think about printing. Like that guy was making millions printing t-shirts. I tell you, I sometimes also think about doing farming. Okay. So if you enjoy so far the session, then write plus. Okay. So what I basically want to kind of reframe with this is that you should not think about being a senior Salesforce developer as someone who is just doing simple Salesforce. There's so much more stuff that goes into it, so much more. And we're going to discuss what exactly goes into it, right? So we're going to discuss what goes into it. Now, I roughly divide the being senior into two different categories. Steven says plus plus. Good. I love it. Into two different categories, right? So we have soft skills, we have hard skills, and we can kind of add on top of that non-Salesforce skills, right? Also, one word about this whole thing that you see here, that person who basically does all of that, this is software engineer, right? So this is not just, you're not just simply a Salesforce developer or Salesforce admin, you're a software engineer. And Salesforce at this point, it's so complex that here also you might have different parts of the Salesforce communicating between each other, right? And you need to know how to make them work as well. So this is important to keep in mind. So I kind of want that maybe by the end of this presentation, instead of thinking about your career as just strictly admin or strictly developer career, you think about yourself as software engineer, right? I think this mindset in Salesforce would be very helpful. But coming back, let's go about like actual skills, what I think that senior developers need to have and how you can actually get them. Yeah. So I speak about three different parts, and each of those parts are equally important. And maybe some parts are even more important. Okay. So the first thing that I think is one of the most crucial things about becoming a senior is leadership. And probably one of the hardest things, leadership. So it's kind of a little bit hard to define, right? What does it mean that someone is a leader? But we always have those people in the team. So essentially, imagine if you're working together with other people, right? You're working together with other people on some project. You're working with those 3 colleagues on a project, right? Now, if the only thing that you do is just solve tasks, you're not really a senior developer, because a senior developer is responsible for the full project. So basically, the senior developer is the one who takes the leadership and makes sure that a project, not a task, but a project is completed. So this is important. If you want to become a senior, you need to kind of stop thinking about solving tasks, and you need to start thinking about solving projects and solving business problems. Okay. So if you're just sitting there all the time and coding whatever tasks just getting thrown on you, this is not growing your leadership skills. You're just basically coding. You're like a coding assistant, right? This is a sign of a junior developer. So what you need to do is that you need to reframe this in your head and try to take more and more projects, right? Maybe even just come up with your own projects for the company, right? And then just lead those projects. And if you do that, if you work on them, then at some point, when, for example, you go at the company and you start like some kind of internal project, turns out that you're going to be the most experienced person on this project. And when the new person want to join this project, they're going to be, yeah, go ask John. John is leading this project. And this is already a sign that you're moving towards senior role instead of being a junior or being a beginner. Okay. So this is a soft skill. This is why it's so hard to define those soft skills. You cannot really teach them in the sense of you can teach integrations or you can teach LWC, right? And this is what's so hard about becoming senior. You cannot just watch a YouTube video and then go implement it, right? You need to kind of get a feeling of different things, and you need to learn the soft skills. Obviously, I'm not going to speak about like those typical skills that people write there, like communication. Uh, of course, you need to be able to communicate, right? One of the other skills that I think a lot of people overlook on the like soft skills part is writing. Because writing, why is writing important? Because you're writing so many things as a developer. You're writing documentation. Maybe you're writing some social media, right? For your personal brand. You're writing, you're writing code all the time, but that means that you're also writing like comments, right? Comments. You're making communication like through Slack, through emails, right? All of this is writing skills. So this is overlooked because no one is actually speaking that if you want to become a senior developer, you better learn how to write good, right? You learn how to write, how to communicate efficiently with people on Slack, which means not going into too many details, not leaving too many details out as well, right? So you need to learn how to write properly. Now, when we speak about more of something that you can actually learn, and that's why it's a little bit easier, those skills, is obviously you need to be really good at Apex. Obviously, right? You need to be really good at LWC, and you need to be really good at integrations. One of the biggest things that I see that why people don't become seniors is because of LWC. You need to be really good at LWC. So many Salesforce developers, they're like, oh, I don't like front end. I don't like JavaScript. I don't like it. I don't like designing. I don't like LWC. I don't like Visualforce, right? So let's add here also Visualforce and Aura. I don't like them, so I'm not gonna do them. No, a big mistake. A big mistake. Because remember what I told you, as a senior developer, you need to be able to take any project from absolutely no idea to done, which means that you also should be able to do the LWC without the help of others. Okay, so you need to be good at LWC, right? So this is the coding part. This is pretty easy, but don't forget flows. and admin stuff. Okay? You can kind of, as a junior developer, you can get away without really being that great at flows, at the admin stuff, at permissions, and all of that. But as a senior, again, you should be able to handle any project that comes towards you. So you should be able also to understand when it's better to use Flow, when it's better to use LWC or Apex. And that means that you need to be good at flows. You cannot avoid flows. So this is also what I see so many people who are coming like me from like a coding background, right? So you've been coding for a very long time, then you switch to Salesforce. And when it comes to the flows, they're like, nah, this is admin stuff. I'm not gonna do that. No, if you want to progress and if you want to become a senior, you need to do them. Okay, you need to be quite good at them. So essentially, what you see, there's not really anything that you can be really, really bad at, right? So obviously, some of those skills, they're going to be your strength. Some of those skills are going to be more of your weaknesses, right? It doesn't mean that you have to be really great, 100% at everything. No, you can be more into one thing. You can be better at integrations. You can be better at LWC and a little bit worse at flows. Good, that's fine. But you should be good enough. There's a certain threshold which you need to pass. And once you're good enough, that works and you can progress more. Okay. So if you're not good enough at all those skills, then I would learn them in this order, right? This is the order I would learn them. Apex, then maybe integrations after Apex. So that depends a little bit. And then LWC. Those three things, this should be your first focus. Okay. Aditya is asking, what will you suggest if your current project do not have much work related to LWC or integrations? Great questions. Great question. Let me circle back to it. Great question. In the meanwhile, if you have any other questions, then shoot them in the chat and I'm going to cover them. Okay, so this is like Salesforce stuff. And now we are going into the stuff that is not Salesforce per se, but it's equally important. And this is something that people also kind of like don't really do or don't really think that much. First of all, Git. There's not a single chance you can become a senior developer if you don't know Git, okay? But this is relatively easy. Git is not that hard. Then the next thing is DevOps. DevOps and pipelines. Pipelines. You need to be able to basically create a pipeline from scratch. So if you have you're coming to a completely new org, completely new project, and you have absolutely no idea what's going on there, and there is no DevOps there, there's no delivery there, you should be able to take it from zero and create the whole delivery, create the whole CI/CD stuff, create the whole DevOps things, right? If you cannot do that, it means you cannot take any project from scratch and bring it towards the end, okay? It means you cannot do that. So you need to be able to do that. It's important. Okay, we have DevOps. Then we go into the stuff that is a little bit strange, but you need to understand other things depending on where you specialize, right? So few examples. AWS, cloud in general, like IoT, for example. Wait, there was another one. Wait, what do I have here in my AWS? You have cloud, Python. I have Python here as an example. Okay, so this is a little bit strange, right? Because why would you need Python, for example? You would not believe how many times my Python skills actually were very useful in Salesforce for automating all the different things. You don't need to right now go and learn Python if you don't need it, if you don't have it on the job. But it's worth kind of thinking this and having in your head to search for projects where you might solve it, not doing Salesforce, but doing something else, right? For example, in this case with the printers, when we had Thomas coming to us with the printers, maybe we could have suggested, if you know how Python works, maybe we could have suggested here some kind of middleware, right, using Python or something around this if Salesforce has some kind of limitation, right? So important here that you need to be able to think outside of Salesforce, because if you can't, it means you cannot integrate Salesforce into the business. So it's very important for you as a senior developer to understand also the other parts. Another thing that I think is very important, at least it was important in my career, is kind of cloud or AWS or Azure, something in this direction, because quite often you would need to work with this in Salesforce, right? For example, images or files, right? You don't really want to save them in Salesforce itself. You want to save them more outside of Salesforce. Okay. Is it being helpful so far? Write plus if yes, if it's helpful so far. Right, plus if it's helpful. And let's answer a few questions. Okay, before I answer a few questions, guys. Okay, plus, I see plus. Okay, plus. Okay, so ask your questions in the chat. Now, one of the very, very frequent questions what we have there is this one. I'm gonna screenshot you if you don't mind. Okay. Okay. First of all, before I answer the questions, can I share with you guys, write yes if I can. Can I share with you about my upcoming integration cohort? Because this is something cool that I've been working on for the last like 6 months. Yeah, 6 months. It's crazy. I've been working on this cohort for like 6 months. Oh my God, this is crazy. This is crazy. 6 months is too much. Integrations. Okay, Sai says yes. Pawan says plus. Mujit says yes, because you cannot wait. I remember you said you cannot wait about the cohort. What is the priority of order for mastering API integration? Okay, so here's the thing. In the next years, I think most people need to change their mindset from just developer to software engineer. And this is where integrations are probably one of the key things that you can learn. Because, so basically, what is integration, right? Integration is exactly this thing that I showed you. Is this thing where you have Salesforce and you need to connect it here, 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 and here to all the other systems. Because as I said, Salesforce is never just alone. You always have to integrate Salesforce into the real businesses, into all the other things. Okay? So integrations is probably, when you start out, when you're a junior, is one of the easiest way to level up your skills, your level, your salary. Probably one of the easiest, because they are really not that complex to understand, but they're very helpful. So I've been working on this integration cohort that basically I'm going to take, and in 8 weeks, I'm going to teach you everything about integrations. Like I'm teaching you now, I'm going to teach you everything about integrations, what's out there, what you can do, literally every single thing. We're going to build together a payment system, right? So I'm going to give you like a real world cases. I'm going to give you the stuff that I had as a freelancer. So you will be able, once you finish the cohort, you will be able to say, hey, I already have done quite a bit of stuff. And if you want to go like and freelance and maybe earn a few thousand bucks on the side, then you will be able to do that because you already have done integrations with me. So integrations are very important because it teaches you how to take Salesforce and connect it to all the other systems, right? And the thing is that integrations alone, they won't make you a senior developer. But if you ever want to be good at Salesforce development, you have to learn integrations. There is not a single chance that you can become architect, technical architect, application architect, any type of architect or a senior developer or even a mid developer if you don't learn integrations. You have to learn integrations. Absolutely, there's not a single way to progress in your career unless you learn integrations. It's so important. Okay, so if that's something for you guys, I have a wait list here for the integration cohort, and if you wanna go and sign up, we start, I think we launch on 20th of October. Okay, so if you want to have more information about this, like cost and all of this, then join the wait list, and I'm going to send you email once we open. Now, what's the right order, right? Let's say you're a junior now. You're a junior. What's the right order for you to learn? I don't know why he's so sad. I want to make a mustache. Okay, now this junior is more angry. But you're a junior and you want to learn, you want to become senior, right? What's the order? Usually I first recommend is that you learn everything about Apex, like pretty good, which what I mean is like cubables, 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 asynchronous Apex, asynchronous Apex. Yeah, like stuff like batch, scheduled, and all of this. So basically, just fundamentals, like foundation of Apex. Then you learn integrations, because this is also part of Apex, but this is a little bit more advanced Apex, right? So this is not stuff like classes and maps and methods and all this. No. So you learn integrations, and only after that, oh, what's that? Only after that, and it's important, after that, you learn LWC. A lot of people, especially people who are coming more from a Salesforce admin, right? If you're an admin and you're trying to become a junior Salesforce developer, and you jump immediately into LWC, this is bad. This is gonna end up bad. So first thing that you need to do is that you need to be great at Apex, which means testing Apex, writing cubables, writing batch, writing everything that is Apex related, and writing integrations, parsing the integrations, making requests, getting the response, working with JSON. All those type of things you need to be good at. Only after you're good with the back end of Salesforce, you can switch to the front end. Why is it the case? Because the backend is way more integrated into admin job or into anything else that you would be doing. So chances are, if you're a junior developer, you're probably going to be working with some kind of backend system and not so much with the front end, because front end is a little bit more advanced. After you learn LWC, then you can go learn Aura or Visualforce. Doesn't matter in which order. Probably Visualforce is a little bit more important, right? So only after that, only after LWC, right? And after you're good with this whole Apex stuff. Okay, so this is the right order to learn. Write the questions, guys, because I'm gonna be going through the questions now. So write them. Ankit, I have 3 years of experience, but I don't get much work related to LWC, but I learned from course and create some projects, but I don't know how to tackle real-time scenarios when they come. Any suggestions? Good question. We have this here. We have chicken and egg problem, right? So you have no experience. What's going on? Wait. Why it doesn't zoom? Come on, zoom. Here we go. Okay. So you have no experience, and therefore you can't get experience, right? So you kind of get stuck here. Now, my answer to all of this is that you need to create experience. Okay? Create your own experience. I wrote a couple of days ago an email about this. So if you're subscribed to my email, you know what I think about this. So basically, you're like, okay, you're not giving me any type of real world stuff in LWC, be it LWC or anything else. But this is very frequent with LWC, right? In a lot of cases, even as an admin, you will have some Apex to do, right? Maybe here and there, you can even just decide to do some Apex instead of a flow, and that's good. But LWC is so unique and so specific that in a lot of cases, even working as a junior developer, you won't really have much possibilities to do LWC. So what you need to do in this case is create your own experience. And here, hear me out. It's gonna sound crazy. I know it's gonna sound crazy, but do you want to become a senior developer and earn a lot of money? If yes, then do crazy stuff, okay? So it's gonna sound crazy, but startup. Do a small startup. Very small. Doesn't have to be something crazy. Just do very small startup, okay? So like think about something. Think about some kind of agent force, better agent force. Something take a paid app on App Exchange and make it free. Just the same thing, just free. Okay? It doesn't have something crazy. It can be something that you spend like 1-2 weeks on it. Okay? But the point is that the projects that you come up with, they need to have real business value. Business value. Because in a lot of cases, if you just sit there and try to come up with some kind of projects out of your head, you will end up with a stuff where you kind of you don't keep yourself accountable. You're like, yeah, I wanted to develop this really cool app, this like agent force, and I end up with some kind of vibe coding half-baked product. Okay, but that's good enough. No one's gonna see it, right? So instead of that, what you need to do is think about real problem that you see in real life, that you see on Salesforce. If you're working as a Salesforce admin, right? If you're working as a Salesforce admin, then you see something every single day. Every single day, you see something that you can develop, something that's going to help you, something that's going to help a client that you work for. Then take this thing and spend the next 2 weeks trying to develop some kind of MVP for a small project. This is going to force you to think about actual real world experience, okay? This way, you create real world experience. And maybe this product is going to work. You don't know. You can do it open source, right? You can put it for free on App Exchange. You can do it open source, right? You can have a look at stuff like Flow Analyzer, for example. Flow Analyzer, right? Analyzer. This is a side project. Okay? This is a side project. This is not like a main thing. So you can see there are so many people who are creating side projects, and then those side projects end up pretty good. Even if it doesn't end up pretty good, you can put it on your CV and you can count it as experience, because at the end you actually did something that is useful in the real world. Okay, so this is how you solve this problem with chicken and egg, that you don't have the experience. You just create experience yourself. And I know it sounds crazy. I know it's like, oh wow, that's a lot of work. Yeah, well, you wanna get the money or not? Tanvi says, best of luck of the integrations. Thank you. It's gonna be so cool. I've been working for so long on the integration. It's gonna be just awesome. Question: Aura and Visualforce being kind of legacy tools, do you recommend spending time learning this too if someone's doing them? So if you want to take a certification exam, yes. Why? So basically, here's how you learn the front-end part. LWC, Visualforce, Aura. This way. Okay? Aura. This is the right way to learn them. Now, LWC is by far just the most important one. You should absolutely focus as much as you can on LWC. But Visualforce, it is in PD1, PD1 and PD2. Okay? So if you want to pass those two certifications, PD1 and PD2, you need to learn Visualforce. I'm sorry about that. Also, there's a little bit of Aura, but it's not that much. So out of all of those, I would probably spend the least amount of time on Aura, the most amount of time on LWC, and a little bit on Visual Force. So I would spend 80% of your study time, that hopefully you have like some time allocated for study, on LWC, 15% on Visual Force, and 5% on Aura. That would be my distribution, right? On how important they are. Does it end up to 100? Yes. Okay. Okay. So this end up to 100. Speaking of learning Apex, is it fine to depend on AI to correct your syntax or build your code template? Then you adjust the logic according to Salesforce best practices. Good question. And the answer is no. The answer is no. Okay. So for those who are following my emails, what right now I'm hiring for developer, not Salesforce developer. Okay, so no, don't write me, don't write me, don't write me about getting hired for Salesforce developer. But here's the thing with AI. AI is good when you already know what to do. Like, for example, I use AI a lot and it helps me to speed up the development by a lot. Okay. But I can also do it without AI. It's not a problem for me. I'm not losing a skill just because I'm writing faster. Okay. So, but if when you're a junior, and you're using AI to basically replace your thinking with AI thinking, then this is not good. And I personally, I don't hire juniors who use a lot of AI, because the main idea behind the beginning of your career is to make mistakes. And a lot of people think that if you're like you're going to code right now, you're so motivated, you listen to this session, you're like, I'm gonna be learning this, I'm open VS Code right now and I'm gonna code, right? And then you end up in some kind of errors. Like error, nothing works, everything breaks, and people think that this is bad. This is not bad. It's just the price that you pay to become a developer. Okay? This is just, it is what it is. It is just a part of development. It is not bad. So you don't need to be scared of errors, of code not working. You don't need to go to ChatGPT and ask it. No, just Google it. Search for documentation. Understand what's happening. Don't go and try AI to help you understand, because if you always rely on AI in the beginning, especially, you will not understand the basics of coding, and if you don't understand them, you're not going to progress at all. Okay? Any other questions? Shoot the questions in the chat. Okay, let's see, did I miss any? So the priority, Conrad, about the priority, we spoke about the priority, right? Okay, we spoke also what do you do when you don't have LWC experience. Okay, so another question. I have 3.5 years experience in another domain, but now I'm learning Salesforce. So should I apply for junior Salesforce developer or senior Salesforce developer? Well, how would I know? I have no idea. So apply whatever you feel. If you feel like you're already senior Salesforce developer, apply for it. Maybe you're not gonna get hired for senior developer, but they're gonna hire you for something else. In general, you're not losing anything by applying to a job. So apply. To become a senior Salesforce developer, in addition to the skills you mentioned, it's necessary to have experience-specific Salesforce clouds, such as sales, service, and marketing cloud. The job opening are cloud-specific. Could you please advise on this? No, I don't think you really need to study for specific clouds. I don't think so. I don't think you need to, unless you want to go into the marketing cloud. Like, marketing cloud is pretty different, right? So marketing cloud is pretty different. right? But you don't need to learn it. So I think what's enough for you, if you're just like what we call vanilla sales and service clouds, right? With the main one is the sales cloud, right? So the sales cloud is by far the most popular one in Salesforce, right? So you better just focus on that one, unless you have some kind of specific related experience to marketing cloud, and all of that. Okay. Any other questions? There was some question that I think I skipped. I skipped the question. Okay, if I skipped your question, that would be one of the last chances to write the question. Okay. Okay. So again, the integration cohort, join it, join the waitlist if you want to know a little bit more about this. We kind of went over what you need to do to become a senior approximately. Obviously, you can map it out very quick, but then actually becoming senior is like a totally different thing. So all of this is going to take quite a bit of time. Now, another thing that I actually want to mention is time. And I want to mention that some people think that, okay, if you have 5 years of experience, if you have 6-10 years of experience, it means that you're kind of your senior. But this is absolutely not true. First of all, you can become senior way faster by speed running everything. Okay, for example, by taking integration cohort and not spending 2 years learning integration, spending just 8 weeks learning integrations, right? This is one way to speed run it. Another way is just work all the time, have absolutely no life, and just work all the time, right? So there are many different ways. Also, mentoring, right? You can have a good mentor, you can have a really nice work environment. So all of those things, they contribute for you to becoming either faster a senior developer or slower senior developer. So by time itself, you will not become a senior developer. You can spend 10, 20 years working as a Salesforce developer and still not be a senior developer. You need to be deliberate about the stuff that you're learning. You need to know what are your gaps, what are the things that you're working on. At any given week, if I wake you up in the night and I ask you, hey, what kind of stuff are you working in this quarter, in this month, in this year to become better and become a senior developer? You need to be able to say to me, what are the things that you're working on? Okay, you cannot just go to work, log in, check out, and that's it. This is not the way to become a senior or progress to really real expertise and real mastery of your career. This won't work like this. But if you're deliberate about what you're learning, if you know what you want to achieve, if you're working every day, and if you're patient with the results, okay? I like this quote: patience with the results, impatience with actions. Be impatient with your actions, but be patient with your results. If you follow this, you will become senior. Dani asks, do you recommend getting expertise in ETL, EAL tools in parallel to Salesforce? ETL being like extraction, something transformative language, something like this. I don't think it's a separate skill that you can kind of put out. No, I don't think you need to like deliberately practice this, but definitely you need to understand how they work. But I think you just pick them up whenever you have something that that requires you to use those things. Lata says, is the recording available? Yes, they're going to be recording on YouTube and maybe on LinkedIn. I'm not sure, but definitely on YouTube. So join YouTube. And I have a big video today coming up about Qubels, so you can watch that as well. Do you think in the next 5 years the senior Salesforce developer would still be a thing with AI? Yes. In fact, I think the demand for senior developers is going to grow so much. If right now you're a junior, you have the best and maybe even the last opportunity to become senior. you need to become a senior quick, because if for whatever reason, this is not the case right now, but if we're going to have problems with junior developers being replaced by AI, then senior is still not going to be replaced by anything. Because if you look at this, if you look at what I showed before, right? A senior, or better to say a software engineer, is the person who takes everything in the business and integrates everything together. In comparison to a person who is just a developer and basically just codes different things. Very different, right? If you just code something, some tickets coming your way and you're just coding them, you better hurry up. You might be replaced by the AI or by someone who is using AI. Okay. But if you're a software engineer, if you're a really great developer, if you're a senior developer, if you truly know what you're doing, you will not be replaced by AI. You will not. Okay. Danny says that you meant MuleSoft. Yeah, MuleSoft. I mean, it's part of the integrations, right? So it's part of the just this architecture of integrations. It's worth knowing those things. Yes, stuff like MuleSoft, like middleware for integrations. I think it's a good part for integrations in general. Okay. Also, I'm not speaking that Salesforce developers are going to be replaced by AI. So don't worry. AI is still have a long way to replace even juniors. Not speaking about seniors. Okay, that's all. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. Watch it on YouTube. Join my integration cohort for the waitlist so far, and then I'm gonna message you when we open the spots. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I hope you learned something new from here. I tried to explain here, and I hope it's gonna help you to be less like less like this guy and be more like this cool guy. Okay, thank you, everyone. See you around. Thank you. Bye bye, everyone.